Welcome back to Bipolar Recorder. I'm your host, Hunter Keegan. Thanks for checking out my little podcast. It's a pleasure to have you here. There's been a lot happening since I got back from the Penn State adventure last month. That was back in April. And since returning to my home in Roanoke, Virginia, down in Southwest Virginia, I've been very, very busy with the day job and trying to get my feet back under me in terms of a lot of various personal, professional, and financial obligations. It's been very, very hectic, but I wanted to do this podcast update to check in and tell you all a little bit about what's been going on with me lately. That audio and video from the Penn State presentations will be going out soon. I just need to go back through and edit it together. I'll be putting it out on YouTube for sure. I continue to put content out on YouTube periodically. It seems like a lot of people have been seeing that and enjoying it. I've been having a lot of fun making it. Most recently, I did what I believe is the first ever mental health outreach / guitar pedal crossover collaboration on YouTube. I've been doing videos of me demonstrating a really cool guitar pedal that this Australian dude built. And that I was able to purchase earlier in the winter, earlier this year, back before my insane financial crisis. So anyway, I've been doing these guitar pedal demo videos and incorporating the mental health content in alongside that, and that's been really interesting. Find that on YouTube at Bipolar Recorder, and be sure to like and subscribe to the channel once you find it. There's a bunch of short form content up there too now. A lot of videos of my girlfriend Alyssa and I working on little projects together. So it's all good stuff, and that's on YouTube at Bipolar Recorder. Speaking of Alyssa, I think some of y'all have noticed, if you've been following the YouTube content or you have been catching me in the rare occasions when I've been on Twitter Spaces or X Spaces these days, Alyssa and I are actually back together. I don't want to talk about my relationship stuff too much on the show, but I thought that it would be worth mentioning that she was featured on a couple of the very early episodes of the podcast talking about her experiences with depression and ECT treatments. And so we dated for a couple of years, broke up for a while, and there's a story that I will not go into too much detail about on this podcast installment. But yeah, through a series of events, we ended up getting back together a few months ago, and we have been dating again. And it's been pretty great so far. Maybe I'll have her back on the podcast so we can talk more about what's been going on with her and how she came to be re-involved in my life, and also featured in some of the mental health outreach content. I don't know if people would be interested in hearing about that or not. Let me know. Drop me a line on social media at Bipolar Recorder. I'm on Twitter /X, Instagram. If you want to email me, there's a contact form on the official website, bipolarrecorder.com. If you go to the contact /about Hunter Keegan tab on bipolarrecorder.com, there's a short contact form that you can fill out. So I mentioned that because I always like hearing feedback about the show. I also get a lot of really great questions that people posit to me. And I like the, community element that lies beneath a lot of the outreach work that I do. So yeah, if you're ever trying to reach out, if you've ever got questions, comments about the show, things you'd like to hear more of, things you'd like to hear less of, reach out and let me know. Your feedback is much appreciated. Alyssa and I were watching this show, actually a docu-series a couple of weeks ago that I wanted to talk about on the podcast because I felt that the docu-series was really relevant to mental health and people who live extreme lifestyles. And that series was called The Dark Wizard. It was on HBO Max, and it's a 4-part docu-series. Each installment, do I always call things that now? Each part of the docu-series is about an hour long. So yeah, The Dark Wizard, it sounds kind of like, what could that be? Is it about fantasy shit? And it's actually not. It's about this base jumper / free solo climber / wingsuit flyer named Dean Potter. And it's about his life and his rise to notoriety and his climbing career and his demise. And I'm not spoiling anything. When Alyssa and I were watching the first episode, within like 30 seconds, we were looking at each other like, oh, wait, this guy's definitely dead, isn't he? And so, yeah, Dean Potter is no longer with us. But in The Dark Wizard, they explore a lot of what was driving him in his climbing and base jumping, etc., pursuits. And around the second or third episode of the miniseries, they start highlighting the psychological elements of Dean Potter's life. And it's not said outright that he's bipolar, but they do talk about him having mood swings and getting very, very depressed in certain periods of his life. And they also talk about him at certain points being on psychiatric medication. And I thought that was very relevant to Mental Health Awareness Month. And I thought it was really cool that they emphasized not only the extreme elements of Dean's lifestyle, but also the mental health aspect to what drives someone to participate in that kind of life, I suppose. It was really, really well done. I love a good documentary. One of my favorite documentaries, if not my favorite documentary of all time, is about a guy named Timothy Treadwell. And it's a Werner Herzog documentary that came out in 2004. It's called Grizzly Man. And similar to the Dark Wizard docuseries, Grizzly Man is about a guy who had pretty clearly some intense mental health issues going on in his life. Timothy Treadwell was a kind of self-styled nature filmmaker / environmentalist, and he tried to live alongside grizzly bears, actually technically brown bears, in Alaska. And he did that for 13 summers. And eventually he was actually killed and eaten by a grizzly or a brown bear that was living near a very sketchy area of a national park that he wasn't supposed to be camping in, Timothy. Anyhow, So, Grizzly Man, fantastic documentary. The Dark Wizard, fantastic docuseries. I would highly recommend both of them. And I always like stuff that has an emphasis on humans' relationships with the natural world. Speaking of nature and the great outdoors, I'm going to be doing some hiking later today. It's Sunday, May 17th, 2026, right now. And I'm going to go hiking with a buddy who I met a couple of months ago in Roanoke. I wanted to say that one of the big advantages of getting away from that remote work that I was doing during the COVID days and getting jobs that require me to get out of my house consistently and actually get out in my local community, that shift has been really positive. I've been meeting some really good people who have become friends in Roanoke over the last year and a half, and that's been tremendous for me. I feel much more established now. I don't feel like I'm just, living in a random place, never going outside of the house. And I think that's been really good for my mental health. So, yeah, like I always say, man, the third element, community, it's huge. In terms of big things coming up for Bipolar Recorder Project, of course, we have the production of the Happy Valleys, a Bipolar Journey audiobook. That's going to be my big thing for this summer. I'm really, really looking forward to delving into recording and producing that audiobook. Happy Valleys, a Bipolar Journey is my latest memoir. It was published in February of 2025, and it's available in print and Kindle editions on Amazon if you want to look that up. But I have gotten so many requests over the years for audiobooks of my written work, and it's something I've always wanted to do, and I finally feel like I have the equipment and knowledge needed to really do it effectively. So I'm looking forward to really getting that done and putting the audiobook out there, most likely on audible.com. So I'll be continuing to provide updates about that process and progress over the coming months. If you have not checked out any of my books, particularly Happy Valleys, I guess I would just say that if you're curious about the content, those memoirs focus a lot on my experiences as a young adult, right around when I was encountering mania and psychosis for the first time. It chronicles, well, the books, like the memoirs, My Brain is Trying to Kill Me was my first one, and then Happy Valleys, a Bipolar Journey was like a follow-up to that. But both of them really focus on my late teens and early 20s, and especially my time as a student at Penn State University when I was studying psychology there and ultimately earning my Bachelor of Science degree in psychology. I just mentioned that because I think that creative output is really huge for me in my healing journey. And it's really cool that over the years, people have stumbled across my work and they've actually taken the time to read it and sometimes even write to me about what my work has meant to them or why it resonated with them. It's also given me the opportunity to meet a lot of people who are also indie authors or indie creatives of sorts and get to learn about what they've been doing. And actually, in many cases, people have asked me to take a look at what they've been working on and provide feedback. And sometimes that's really cool. I've, of course, platformed many other independent authors, actors, musicians, etc. on Bipolar Recorder, and I hope to continue doing that moving forward. In order to continue this independent mental health outreach mission, in order to reach more hearts and minds and continue platforming people who are finding ways to tell their stories, we really do need your support. I had posted some stuff on the social media feeds a couple of weeks ago about the RSS feed potentially going inactive, and I was not trying to cause alarm. We really do need y'all to donate and or buy some merch at bipolarrecorder.com/shop. And thank you so much to the people who were able to contribute a week and a half ago, because I'm really not exaggerating. I am on a extremely tight budget right now, and so I have to pay a lot of hosting fees and stuff to keep the RSS feed active. So your support is much appreciated. It's much needed. Bipolarrecorder.com/shop is where you can donate, or you can buy merch or original artwork. So if you were on the fence about supporting, this would really be the time to pitch in if you can. And to people who are already doing that or have already done that, thank you so much. As always, make sure you tell your friends about this show. Keep getting the word out. This is not some astroturfed psyop bullshit where I have a bunch of bot accounts posting about Bipolar Recorder and blowing it up on social media and stuff. This is all through word of mouth and organic growth. And that's why if you post about Bipolar Recorder on social media, if you tell your friends about it, if you tell your family about it, it really helps so much. My name is Hunter Keegan. This was installment 71 of the Bipolar Recorder official podcast. We have so much great content out there for you to browse through these days. Find the central hub for all of it at bipolarrecorder.com. Check out our YouTube at Bipolar Recorder, our X at Bipolar Recorder, Instagram at Bipolar Recorder. Keep the underground faith alive and have a safe and righteous day, evening, or night, wherever you are.
Bipolar Recorder is a listener-supported show. To help keep the show running, consider checking out our Patreon page or visiting bipolarrecorder.com.
Unless otherwise stated, the hosts and guests on Bipolar Recorder are not licensed mental health professionals. Bipolar Recorder is not a substitute for therapy or professional medical intervention. If you are having a mental health crisis, please contact your local emergency services.